Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's Employee of the Month, 2 months in a row. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's me, Jamie. I just had a new idea for our song about the Name Your Price tool. So when it's like, tell us what you want to pay, hey, 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 and the trombone goes, blah, 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 and you say, we'll help you find coverage options to fit your budget. Then we just all do finger snaps while a choir goes, statements coming at ya, statements coming at ya. Yes? No? Maybe? Anyway, see your practice tonight. I got new lyrics for the rap break.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Aloha, everyone. Welcome to the Sacred Matrix on Aquarian Radio, and I am your host, Jennifer Lessin, with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Lessin, and this is aquarianradio.com. And today we have very special guests, Benjamin Wade, Sylvia Wade, Daniel Wade, and the show is the All-Chakratantra, featuring a story on the... I'm trying to dial and talk at the same time. Will you read just, honey, while I dial? We're going to discuss the Phoenix Goddess Temple and Tracy Elise's imprisonment. And anyway, talk about it while I get everybody onto the show here.
Okay, so we are going to really look at how the state of Arizona and the city of county of Phoenix has railroaded a spiritual church as though it were a criminal enterprise, and put this beautiful teacher, Tracy Elise, who I totally respect, and her wonderful works for the community, out of business because they were giving love as a donation to the world. And this petty little court, obviously in the hands of prosecutors, motivated to stamp out this alternative religion, and Tracy's goddess religion is part of the Oklevueha Native American Church. Oklevueha, and so this is like such an assault on freedom of religion and freedom of people to have their own spiritual path. And so fortunately, even though Tracy's been found guilty at this mock trial where anything relevant was denied, even good scrutiny or the reasonable doubt was definitely not considered. So now, they put her in jail, but it's going to be appealed. And ultimately, you can see this is freedom of religion guaranteed to us in the First Amendment. I'm feeling very strongly about this. I'm really glad we've got Tracy's defense team, her children here.
They're here now, honey. So we have Ben, Sylvia, and Daniel Wade. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Are you there?
Thanks for having us.
Hi.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Hi.
Oh, we're very happy to have you today. Who do we have do we have all three of you?
Yep.
Okay. So, Sasha, I'm sorry to interrupt you. What were you going to say? It's a mock trial.
Saying that let us put the ball back in you guys' court, and just what came down, how come our wonderful teacher is in jail, and what's this all about? For people that don't know, let's start with that.
Okay, so it has been a 5-year process since the temple raids. I think it was like 43, 44 people were indicted, and we just were really waiting for justice, denied due process, kind of. Part of the reason why we were denied is because it was deemed a complex case. And it was deemed complex because of the number of people involved and the fact that everyone was saying we're sincere, and they're saying, well, it doesn't really matter, you can't do that. And so the process took 5 years to get to trial. Throughout the years, over the years, everyone took pleas except for our mom, Tracy, and another temple goddess practitioner Mary Elizabeth Rube, who she is still actually in her own pending case. But, through over the years, a lot of people were either offered the option for pleas, were either to take a misdemeanor and become a state witness and, speak out against the temple. And Ben will talk about that later. Or take an outright felony, class 6 felony, which is what I did, and that was to not speak out against temple. And the reason people did it, everyone ended up taking pleas just over time, being on trial, going to court every single month, waiting, and they're saying, oh, well, if you go to all the lawyers here in Arizona, oh, well, if this goes to court, it's too complex, you're going to go to jail. Everyone had different terms, but in general, everyone was facing like 20, 30 years in prison originally. And again, once you get to trial, they do drop a bunch of the charges. I mean, originally, Mom had 110 counts against her, and, it got dropped to 22. And so, over the years, there's been a lot of ups and downs and a lot of interesting, strange things happened. Waiting for justice. My lawyer, we all had no contact orders my mom and myself personally had a no contact order for. They actually did a second undercover investigation on her. And the undercover agent who did and this was in the fall of 2012, so she had been out of jail, but they did a second undercover, and her undercover on that one was great, and they wouldn't allow it into the trial. But that's about the time that I took the plea because she went back into jail and her health started to fail. The second time she was in there, they had put her in Rule 11, so she wasn't bondable, so she was kind of stuck, and there was no contact order. So that was kind of when I tapped out, was because her health started to fail, and I really started to worry about my mom. And, for whatever reason, over the course of the years, all people from Temple, even though everyone was sincere and believed it, especially at first, I think that there's quite a few people who feel duped at this point just because it just totally eradicated their life, their community, and they can't see the light through the end of the tunnel here. But Mom is full-blown committed to this. We all knew this was a possibility, and truth be told, this is the way to get precedent, legal precedent, because a dismiss is not precedent the way it works, and I was going to have Ben explain this. Ben, you want to come explain the statute, court versus appeals?
Absolutely. Hello.
Hi. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. So the main thing is that when you're sitting in a statute court, which we all are connected to via the name, the all-capital letter name, it's really a commercial law or maritime law or trust law court. And so it's a business court. And so the statutes, another way to say that is a contract. The statute laws are contracts in place by the state, which is a company. And so when those contracts are violated, that's when there can be penalties. And we as citizens are subject to those contracts via the citizenship and or the name. So, but I have a question for everybody, if you follow me. Does a bank account or a business account or a business in general, does it have freedom of religion? No. Does a human being, a man or a woman, have freedom of religion? Yes. So we were always in the wrong court. We were in the statute court or the maritime law court. And so Tracy was aware of that, and we were in a rock and a hard place because every lawyer that we spoke to have them apply our freedom of religion, they all in Arizona, I'm just going to say this because this is what came back. First of all, when you talk to 10 lawyers, you'll hear 10 different things. But in this case, every lawyer that we spoke to about our freedom of religion and to file this and do that, they all said, listen, if I do that, I'll never work in the state again. So the bar is for sure a club. you can pass the bar and still not get in it, because they, that's not all they're grading on. They are a society. It is a club. The bar stands for British Accredited Registry. So they're doing foreign business for England on American soil. This knowledge has been kept from us. We don't learn about this. You might not even learn about this in law school. But it is out there now on YouTube, and there's many great, brilliant people talking about it and educating us on that. So
let me see. This being a municipal business court, it has no jurisdiction in matters of religion and spirituality, so they should have just let go of it. It wasn't the right venue. Is that right?
Yes, that's our claim and that's our stance, and that's what will be decided on at the next level when we can apply the Constitution in our freedom of religion. But at the lowest level, it's correct that they're not applying that, and they're really looking at it based only on the statutes, which are the current laws in place. Now, the state did admit that they did not disagree with the temple wholeheartedly, that there was good there, but they had a statute in place where from 2006, the state had decided that anything that was prostitution-related was a harm against the state. But now this is where it gets a little bit deeper for our case. Now, what is a compelling interest for harm of prostitution? There's three things that the government looks at. One is health, if there's any STDs or the spreading of STDs. Two is called cluster crimes. So if there is, they say, hey, if there's a situation where there's prostitution, there may be other type of illegal activities going on, selling drugs and whatnot, abuse, domestic violence, etc. Oh, and the third one is, which is pretty much standard for any case, any crime, is there has to be a victim of harm of person or property. So there was no cluster crimes, there was no STDs, and there was no victims or complaints of any harm. So really there's no compelling interest. So although the state has a law for prostitution as being a harm, they still must prove compelling interest. That did not exist at the temple. So we did get caught up in the storm, and we knew it. We knew it going in. And Tracy's real whole mission for this trial was, hey, this has already happened. We've sacrificed enough. I've lost the temple. It's gone. It's not coming back the way it was. My family is scattered and shattered. So all we could do was put the truth, as much as we could of it, on the public record, on the state's dime, because that's pretty much the only thing we could do. They have taken everything else. So in doing that, we did do our best. We put everything out on the record, but the statutory court, and this was the sad part, it really was surreal, and it felt like a setup or like a TV show. We had 13 juries going into the last day. Someone had got sick. They had to go to the hospital. Okay, it's understandable. But we were basically talking about canceling that day. It was all emotional. Like, okay, we're going to cancel this final closing argument and postpone it till the jury can come back. But then, and we had decided on that, and then all of a sudden an email flies in, oh, this jury's going to go to the hospital possibly, so he might not come back. So the judge is like, well, let's just do this right now. But we had just wasted 45 minutes in this emotional tailspin about going on or not. Then, and I was like, hey, can we get, a 5-minute recess for Tracy to clear her emotions? No, she just went for it, and she did an excellent job. And then the day ended, and the prosecution had about an hour to lay into her. And then they did not finish, and so it went to the next day. And this is where I felt what was unfair. The prosecution had 15 minutes, so the judge said. They took about 45, 50, and they just laid into her. And the worst part was that Ed Leiter, the attorney, or the prosecutor, he lied like 5 or 6 times, and he just completely assassinated her character in lies. And it was almost like the jury was not paying attention the whole trial. He said things like, if Tracy wins, there's going to be a temple on every corner. Which, by the way, that wouldn't be because of us. That would be because the people want it. If that wasn't the case, we don't have the resources to put a temple on every corner. But the question is, maybe we should have a temple on every corner. Why not in a world where robots are replacing our jobs, we need something to do. Why not be healers and let the market decide? Let people come to people who claim to have the gifts to give.
Absolutely.
Wow. So, is Daniel there? Do you have something you want to add?
Probably not. He wasn't there for the jury trial. He's got some definitely things to say, but not so much about the trial itself. I can add a little bit. As far as we kind of were always concerned to have a jury trial, because once you're in an appellate court of appeals, it's not a jury of, your peers. And again, we debate that those were a jury of Tracy's peers. I'm debating that right now. But once you get to the appellate level court, there are judges making decisions, and the appeals court is where old, outdated laws are changed, not in the statute court.
I'm pretty sure we'd have to go to Neptune or Uranus to find some of Tracy's peers.
That's what we're claiming. And there are some obviously there's tons of her peers on this planet, but to get 12 of them together in a room that the state selected, highly unlikely. So we were nervous to go to trial. We all knew this was and particularly me, I'm very emotionally attached and involved in this, and Ben's very clear-headedly thinking about it all, so you'll see that throughout our talk even now. But, even though we were nervous, throughout the trial, all three of us, me, Ben, Mom, there was moments where we thought we had a human connection with the jury. Like there was especially a few of them. We even saw Ben, me, and Nadia. We even saw one of the jurors at a concert we went to with her husband or her fiance or whoever. We saw, we'd be driving home and we saw one of the jurors cruising by us in his convertible, and we were in our Mom. She's her covered wagon convertible. So we had there was times when we had human to human with what we thought connections with the jury. And then on the last day, they're wearing the last 2 days of trial, we told everyone to wear rainbow colors. So much of the court staff and even the jury, like a ton of the jury had rainbow colors on. We felt good about it, but then they go to deliberate and they come back in 2 hours. We're thinking, well, there's no way they could convict. That means they didn't really look at the evidence. And they did. The jury here is allowed to have questions. There's two unique things about going to trial in Arizona compared. It's a state law, not a federal law. Going to trial in Arizona, jury members are allowed to take notes and ask questions. So it's interesting because in their questions, they ask questions of all the witnesses. You both went through that yourselves as witnesses on behalf of Tracy Elise, Dr. Tracy Elise. You can kind of get a feel for what they're thinking in a way that's unique to, say, other cases where in some states they're not allowed to ask questions, so you have no idea what they're thinking. And, throughout the trial, again, we felt we had human connection, and they were asking good questions of the state and of us. But at the end, for them to not really look at the evidence and to come back so fast, we were all so shocked for the verdict. But then again, going back to the beginning, that was just a human experience we had. But we kind of knew all along that the potential was very high because we're just in the wrong court. And, this case is not black and white law. We're in, not 50 shades, we're in a million shades of gray here. And it has a lot to do with beliefs. Everyone has extremely personal, strong opinions, beliefs, experience about human sexuality. It's such a personal thing, and no two people have the same feelings, opinions, experiences, bad, good, indifferent. So it's too hard to ask a jury of 12 people to get on the same page about this. And so I think what happened is, the state basically asked them to just look at the statutes only, don't think outside of the box, and that's what they did. And I'm sure they were overwhelmed, and they had been sitting there for 4 months. It was an extremely long trial. We lost all of our alternates. We started this case with 18. We lost an alternate like the first day, and then they just, through over the course of time, we lost every alternate. There was no alternates, only 12 people. They were probably overwhelmed and just wanted to go home, And, to top it off, though, it was a long trial, but the thing about it is a lot of it wasn't our fault. I mean, yes, of course, if you've ever heard my mom talk, she's super long-winded, so are we. But
to really tell about.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you say that again? Hello? Hello?
Oh.
Hello? Okay.
Oh, hi.
Oh, just let me finish the one thing about the length of the trial. I mean,
sure,
go ahead. Yes.
We were about a solid, about a solid month of it was not our fault. We had break for Thanksgiving, we had break for Christmas and New Year's, and then also we got at the very last minute. This was about to be over weeks ago, and the judge, literally, and the bizarre part, you were here for that, actually, of course. The thing with James Mooney, when James Mooney, our star witness, is going to take the stand. He gets about an hour in. We break for lunch. The judge gets up, doesn't even dismiss him from the stand, which is pretty unusual. We've never seen this happen. Even Mom's advisory council is like, whoa, she must have been in a hurry. So we come back from lunch, and the clerk of court and the deputy are all, they let us take the evidence home without checking it out, which has never happened. And we hear the judge has been in an accident. Now, we end up taking a 2-week break for this on the day our star witness is testifying. So, it's just a lot of weird things happened in the trial that, were beyond our control and looked kind of fishy and unexplainable.
It isn't weird. It sounds like it's a campaign to break up your defense.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, this is certainly persecutorial mismanagement. Get evidence too. That's what I got. Evidence they had that would clear you.
And we, again, Mom we knew that this was a potential outcome, and we wanted to get as much information as we could onto public record. We purchased the entire trial, and we're going to put it up online and share it with the people. And it cost us $1,500 to buy the trial. You don't get even though it's public record, the media is allowed to get the discs of the trial for free, but if you want to use it and share it, you have to pay. And, the cost of going through this process is just astronomical. When you go into the courtroom, you as the defendant or the defendant, as the judge says, you are the only person in the room who is there against your will and not being paid. The jury's being paid. Of course, they're not being paid enough to be happy, but they're getting paid. The clerk of court's getting paid. If you're unaware that the system and going through the system costs a lot of money and is all about making money, I'll tell you right now, after going through the entire system, it's about money. It's all about money. And so we want to share our experience, and we're working on getting that up. It's going to be the URL, and I'm sure maybe you can help us share our URLs. We'll get a list together and get them to you. Is the Temple of One, the number one, .com, then, correct? TempleOfOne.com, one, the numeric one. And we're working on a lot of stuff. I know it looks bleak, but we are not done with this, and we are having a lot of great support online. we've got a lot of things in the works.
So what kind of support do you have? What's happened? What day did this come down? Wednesday, right? Wednesday. Was it the third or something? Second, third? The day that the trial ended and the jury came back?
Well, we've gotten great commentary support from the Huffington Post. There was an article, which is a pretty big publication online that a lot of people see day to day, and it's getting to be like up in the 200s of comments where it's nothing but support, and people across the country are commenting on like what is the state of Arizona doing? Why don't they just leave these people alone? And they see the maximum could potentially be 70 years, and they start liking it how there was in recent news a police officer who raped someone and is only getting 6 months, and then there's this sweet lady who is just trying to heal the world and going to prison for 70 years, So people are starting to wake up. When this all first happened originally, it was mostly centralized around conservative news. The only people who really got the story were based in Arizona, and all the comments were negative and kind of just ugly comments. And now it's starting to kind of break the barrier of just the state of Arizona and starting to reach the nation, we feel like. And there's even people defending us. Like, every now and then there'll be a negative naysayer among the ranks. But we're finding that people that we don't even know and completely unrelated to us are like coming to defend our dignity and our stature.
Cool. And what's your relationship with the Native American Church? I'm not sure I understand that.
Talking about Native American Church.
We are a branch of the Oklevueha Native American Church. Our branch is called Mother Medicine Wheel. Chief Flaming Eagle Mooney. He his great-grandfather founded the church in 1918, and he basically is, and even for him, he's got a lot of controversy online if you look him up, but he's kind of like my mom. I think that they really have a strong connection because they both are just going against adversity, and they're doing things in non-traditional ways. And why James is non-traditional is he believes that, sacrament, natural healing, holy anointing, all things beautiful that come from the earth should be shared with everyone. And, there's some of the Native American, the American natives disagree with him for doing what he's doing because, certain cultures and certain groups hold those truths to their own people, their own culture. And I actually totally understand that. The white man has done a lot of horrible things, but James is really looking to the future, moving forward, saying, no, we all need this. We're here to help them heal too. And that's what his initial case was about, that he went through his own legal process, as did you, and now we are as well. But really, and that's kind of the same as Mom, a lot of the Tantra community gets on her and says, oh, well, you had all these untrained people and blah, 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 and I was the only Tantra healer that actually was trained, and you shouldn't do that. But the fact of the matter is, Mom really just has a huge heart. She's all-inclusive. Anyone who showed up needing help, she tried to help them. And if they said, I'm a goddess, she said, who am I to tell you you're not a goddess? I think that's wonderful that you want to be a goddess, you want to uplift your own sexuality. So James and Mom had a very strong bond from the beginning. He came to Arizona multiple times. He was in the Sedona temples. He blessed our land in Sedona. He blessed our land in Phoenix. We did ceremony multiple times. And he has really stood by us through this whole thing. He still is standing by us. And the Oklevueha lawyers, I mean, they really have their movement with sacred sacrament is huge. It's all over happening all over the country. But what we bring to the table, and he actually blessed Mom as an elder medicine woman in the church. He gave her the gift of being the elder medicine woman for holy anointing and sacred touch. And so that, like, they are starting to get branches who want, that in addition to sacrament.
And a reason that the Phoenix Goddess Temple and the Temple of One, the reason why it is congruent with the indigenous cultures and indigenous ways of healing is the American natives and indigenous tribes, they uphold the feminine, the sacred mother. They uphold the wise woman of the clan. And as well as, so that's what obviously Tracy was about, the body wisdom, the sacred feminine that is within all women and how to bring that out. So listening to our women, how to heal, and as well, of course, they have so many gifts from the earth. So not only are they listening to the women, they have gifts from the earth. And, of course, that includes peyote. It can include mushrooms and cannabis, different, all types, fungi. That's the thing. There's thousands and thousands of gifts from nature that we are aware of and that we're not even aware of yet. And so the way that the temple tied into that is all the different types of oils that we use, that we use at the temple, coconut oil, almond oil, and then, of course, all the essential oils and et cetera. These are part of the gifts that the earth gives us to heal. And so the more we tune into the gifts from the earth and in that frequency, the more whole we are.
Oh.
No question, Sash?
No, this is really important. That basically, Tracy is and the American Indian Native American tradition, and our Tantra tradition too, says that touch can heal. And in our society, touch the healing, and is part of our sacred tradition and arms towing. It was no danger to anyone. It's part of our church, and so it's so obvious to me that once you get higher in the hierarchy of the United States, looking at this case, if it goes all the way to the Supreme Court, the Utah Supreme Court has already said that the Native American Church of cannabis, can use peyote, can use ayahuasca, can use hands-on touch for healing, and we're a part of that tradition.
Yes.
Example, and I think it's only when you really think of the implications, it's not just only on every corner, but every home and every body is a church.
Yes, and that was one of the things, something that Mom would like to see happen, is everyone looks at their own home as sacred, their own body as sacred. You heal each other. When the prosecution said temples on every street corner, we're like, forget that. We want temples in every house, meaning everyone has a massage table, turns it into an altar light, and helps each other. I mean, you can heal through so many ways. I mean, we're sitting here right now, and Raylene is giving Nadia a whole body healing, outside in the beautiful nature on the porch. I mean, it's the body holds pain and trauma, and so does the mind. And a lot of the psychedelics help heal the mind, and sacred touch helps heal the body. It's about releasing trauma and pain and feeling love, feeling oneness, feeling connected. We all walk around with our devices, and we're mental and so mental and not in our body. And I've read somewhere that just getting 4 hugs a day is what you need to to survive. What is it? It's like 10. Do you remember the statistics? 4 hugs a day to survive, 10 to maintain, like 20 to feel better. So no one's getting enough touch. No one is.
Right. We're not getting enough hugs. Not getting enough touch. Wow. My voice is going. Go ahead. Back to somebody there. Go ahead. Continue, Sylvia. You were doing great. I was going to talk, but my voice is going. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, really, again, from my perspective, a lot of the psychedelic healings that come from plant-based, it's very good. It's still about healing trauma. And James Mooney had a prison program where he was able to take peyote to help prisoners heal. And it really is about resetting the body and letting go of trauma. And, it's a very touchy subject. You'll see in the trial footage. A lot of people who came to Temple were, physically traumatized, sexually traumatized. But the difference is they were looking for somewhere to heal themselves and help others heal. And through giving those sessions, they were healing themselves with the seeker. And that's what the state, they just didn't understand. They're like, we're letting in these women who are traumatized. Well, I can tell you right now, when they were in Temple, they were happy. They were not feeling that way after being with the state 5 years and having guns pointed in their faces and, having ankle monitors and drug tests and everyone shaming you for everything you did and having to take, children. People lost their children. People lost their houses. People lost everything. So, that's re-triggering their trauma. We didn't do that. The state did that. And, it's just really sad. And, and to boot, you lost your spiritual family. There's no contact orders. You don't have the people who would normally help you get through hardship. It's literally illegal for you to call your friend. And, one of the things that happened, and I just really want to get this out, is Tamara Brusso lost her life during this trial. She had a no-contact order. She needed the support of her spiritual family, and she fell down the stairs and hurt herself. And because, she actually needed people to take care of her, and because of the no-contact order, and my mom did try to have it lifted, she basically hurt herself in an event. I don't need to go into the details, but eventually, it did end in her losing her life. And she died with an ankle monitor on. She was on house arrest. She was only allowed to leave her house to go to court. I hadn't seen her, and we only saw each other in the court. We could not talk to each other. I could not call her. I could not write her and see how she's doing. She was like a second mother to me. It was devastating. No matter what happened, she's gone forever. And that's not. There's no way to get that back. But even in the courthouse, if we would try to hug each other, in the hall or say hello in the bathroom. One time the prosecutor, Annie Lloyd Van Wee, she was like, I better not hear anyone in here talking to each other. She walks in and it's just like, we're not talking, we're not conspiring in here. We're just asking each other, how are you doing? Are you okay? You know what I mean? It's really mentally sick. It's abusive. It's abusive. And so you can hear the emotion in my voice. I'm not going to cry, but it's tough.
It's okay to cry, Sylvia.
And it's okay to cry.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, when we were at your house last month, we were sitting out on the deck, and Tracy was telling us about what it was like being in jail, and I was just appalled. They basically torture the people that are in jail. They only feed them breakfast, and then breakfast is breakfast and lunch. And
I can tell you what to do where she is. She's going to get, for breakfast, she gets a roll, a little thing of peanut butter, a carton of milk, and an orange. And then that's the same thing she gets for lunch. They might get one hot meal. But, oh, my gosh, we just read this. Sheriff Joe got the cost down for prisoner meals to $1.15 a day. They're spending $1.15 in inmate foods per day. And, we're now going through this process again, so we're setting up phones. She can no longer get physical visits. No one can physically go see her. They only have this video monitoring system, and it costs $8 for 20 minutes to get to talk or see her, and it's going to be on a video monitor.
It's really interesting, too, because the way they spin it in such a way, they act like they're doing you a favor. Like, if you go to the website and look at the frequently asked questions and, like, all the rigmarole of how to set it up, they're like, no longer do you have to take time out of your day to come down and, like, find a sitter for the kids or spend gas money or find money for parking or all the time traveling. Now you can visit your loved one from home, and then you read the fine print, and it's $8 a pop. And
oh my gosh!
And they do offer one free visitation that's still over video, but it's once a week, and you still have to drive down there anyway. So you never get the physical contact that you need. And this just goes back to it all being about money. The court system's about money. The jail system's about money. Because, you know, I imagine they're cutting back on costs for people that having to monitor physical visits. They'd probably just now have one guy, you know, sitting in a room watching a bunch of monitors. But, you know, it's $8 a pop just to talk to somebody.
Right.
Even their phone system changed where, I know, Sylvia still has, their phone system has changed where the way it used to work is if you had a number from Arizona, you got normal rates, and if you were out of state, it'd essentially be triple the cost. Like, it might be $3 for a phone call if you're from Arizona. If you're out of state, it's around $9. But they even lowered the radius range where you have to be in Maricopa County. So even we managed to finally get a contact with our mom through Sylvia's Sedona number. We put $100 on the phone. We've only had maybe like 2.5 phone calls, and our balance is already like $65. So we blew through $35 just to talk to her from an Arizona number. So, you know, they're kind of just bleeding us dry of all of our funds.
Right. And so, well, we know that punishment doesn't work, and I'd like to see if people are in prison and jail that they are rehabilitated and not punished. It sounds like a level 0 civilization as we are, and it's very uncivilized.
It is. And, you know, we have had support. I mean, Ben and I and Daniel were working on this full time, you know, so we're living on donations, and we're trying to use donations to get her a little bit of comfort, you know, having phone calls and you know, having money on her books so that she can buy good snacks. I mean, the water in Phoenix is horrible. All the women you have to buy these, like, sugar drink packets to flavor your water so that it's not horrible. I mean, Phoenix water is pretty gnarly. It's pretty gnarly. But if you think about it, I mean, she has a huge community of people who love her and support her. If you're poor, they took away visits. You can't even see your family anymore. You used to get like 2 or 3 visits a week, and you could physically see someone. Now, if you're poor, how you know, who's going to spend, you know, $18, $24 a week who has those kind of resources to go see their family? I mean, you're going to now, if you're poor and in jail or prison, you're completely alone. It's horrible. I was very upset, and she is.
You're totally screwed.
In some ways for us, it's kind of interesting because people from all over the country can, if they set up an account, they can set up a visit and they can talk with her from all over the country. But, you know, she was very, you know, kind of, it hurt her feelings, and she was sad to hear that she doesn't get any physical visits because, you know, for her, she's a Tantra teacher. She's about energy and light and, you know, the physical form, physical reality. So for her, there is a big difference from talking to someone on the phone or a screen and seeing them in person.
Especially in this first initial wave of our legal battle where she just got thrown in there, like, really, all she needs is like a hug from her kids and maybe like a hug from her mom, but she can't get that, you know?
So this sounds like an issue that needs to be addressed with the RILUPA, Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act. You know, this is extremely abusive, and I don't quite believe that would be legal based on this RILUPA Act. And you might want to talk to your attorneys about prisoner rights and what can be done on that basis, even while she's in there.
Yeah, Arizona
this is a federal law.
Yeah, Arizona is constantly under investigation. I mean, Obama has sued the state. I mean, you'll see it in the news all the time. You go anywhere in the country and people know. I mean, I was in Florida with my fiancé visiting his family, and we're in the grocery store and someone's like, oh, yeah, isn't that place with the tent city and they make people sleep out? I mean, just a person in line checking out groceries. Everyone knows how bad Arizona is. And, yeah, the ACLU is constantly on their case. And, again, the part that's really, sick is they spin it. They're like, okay, now it's a better system, And so, yeah, and that's part of what we want to be able to tell our story is tell the injustice. I mean, we've literally gone through the whole process now. We've gone through every piece of the system. And it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. And, if you're consciously aware, you can see the injustice. If you're someone who's downtrodden and doesn't know, it's just a wave. It's like a wall that just overcomes you. And to stand up for yourself, it's difficult. And we are very proud of her for standing up for herself and standing up for her beliefs.
Yeah, it seems like which the content that seems so objectionable to the prosecutors is Tracy in the Temple for teaching love, kindness to people in the community, honoring of women. And it's striking that she's being punished. I remember some people in history that were punished for teaching the very same things.
Yeah,
some famous people.
Yeah, I mean that's the perfect example of the court, the statute court, and that's where it was an extra, stab in the heart with a twist because the jury members were wearing our colors, and as human beings, yes, you would say light, love, healing, human nature. Human nature was touched and met during this trial. This trial was so epic, and I can guarantee there's things said that have never been said in the courtroom before. And at the same time, they did not care about the emotion because we whooped them up emotionally and logically, and even a lot of the lawyering we did very good. But there was a mistake or two, and ultimately the jury believed the state, and there was no emotion, there was no love in that. It's about the statutes.
So how can people help? How can people support Tracy and the three of you and the legal fund, and what ways can they help?
I'm going to pass this out to Sylvia, but real quick I'll just say, because I'm working really hard on it, and we're working on 4 different fronts at least. But we have the trial, and I think the trial would be very interesting for people to watch. For numerous reasons. The main 3 reasons I think this case is very important is because she did represent herself and she did a very good job. And even lawyers were complimenting her throughout this time. So people may watch this trial and say, how the hell did she just say that to a judge? Well, if you represent yourself. And so there's a great wealth of knowledge to be gained by watching this, because we're going to give you full access to all the arguments at the bench when they usually block it out. You're going to hear and see what they're saying. You're going to hear the state constantly deny the Constitution and freedom of religion and act like it doesn't matter because in that court.
Wow.
And so that's going to be very cool for people to realize and learn from. And then another factor for this case, which is really important, is that, which applies to everybody, when we see a young black man getting shot in the street, and everyone looks at it and says, well, my gosh, well, now we have proof, because every single officer stood on the stand and said, I only trained the Constitution for 2 hours my whole career, whether it was a 10-year career or 20-year career. So you got people on the force, their whole careers, and they're not really training for what they're taking an oath to do, which is be an officer of the peace and uphold the Constitution. Right. So that's another thing that is definitely applicable to everyone, because they basically targeted us. This was a hate crime against a minority religion and a minority group. Yeah. And this, you can apply it to the Tantra family, you can apply it to anybody, and obviously there's more, this happens every day, with targeting in our society. And then the third thing, of course, is all the sexy fun talk. I mean, there's a wealth of knowledge and interesting things. And not only that, but women have testified on the stand about what it's like to work in a dance club. And, I mean, there's just the realness of what women have been through and what they continue to go through with sexuality and their continual rise to back to where we need to uphold them and honor them. And so there's this real stuff that you can never, it's just, I love it. And so Tracy succeeded. It was a win. You know, hardly anyone can go through a trial. Most everyone takes a plea. There's numbers, I think less than a couple percent of people even get to this point. So even though we lost at this level where the jury decided, yes, there was money and there was genitals, so there must have been that statute was broken. But you didn't apply the 300 statutes that apply to protect a religion, that apply to protect what we claim is sacred. And that will be heard.
Yeah. I just remember that religious practitioners, rabbis, touch the baby's genitals when they do the bris ceremony of circumcision. And so this is within their religion. So you're hardly cutting off anything in Tantra.
Right.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
Excellent point. Yeah, Mom even, believe me, she brings that up. I don't know if she got to bring that up in front of the jury, but she definitely brings that up in front of the prosecution. So other ways you can help. So, I mean, and we are going to ask for a donation to have access to the trial because we had to spend so much to get it up there. We're having to pay people to edit, do all this stuff. I mean, it's just a constant, you know, the money is kind of the biggest issue, really, because we got to keep money on our books. We got to keep money on our phones. We are working on it constantly.
Pay for visits.
Yeah, pay for visits. It's just a money drain to go through this process. So, you know, templeofone.com is going to be for the trial footage. We also are going to work on a Tantra Is campaign for Tantra practitioners or anyone who wants to explain and show how Tantra is not just sex. The state made it all about sex. And basically, we're not saying it's all about sex. We're saying it's everything, and that includes sex. It's everything.
Yeah.
So that's we're going to be working on our Tantra Is campaign, and we're Tantra is cooking, Tantra is dancing, and so we'll have that up, and we'll post updates to PhoenixGoddessTemple.org, which links to our Nation Builder account. It's just an easier way to get there. So we're going to have all these coming down the pike very soon, this week, in fact, in the next few days. So, yeah, we just need people to support us online, people to...
The main thing, because Tracy is in there, and her sentencing is April 8th, there's really nothing we can do until then. We are filing 3 main motions. One motion is the notice of appeal. There's another motion that we have to write. They say it takes about 40, 50 hours to write. You're writing, it's called the sentencing memorandum, and you're pleading with the judge for the lightest sentence. Now, the judge has to be wary, and she has to be fair. And Judge Stevens, I do believe, was disgusted with the outcome of the jury, and her face was bright red. She left within 30 seconds. She was disgusted. She's a spiritual woman. She knows what's up, but she's also bound by her chair, her bench up there. So she wants to help Mom, but if she's too lenient, then she may not be reelected as a judge, and she's going to lose her little 6-figure income and all that. So we have to make a very good case, which Tracy's done already. You know, there's no victim in the crime. So we make a very good case of why you go light on Tracy. She never had a criminal intention a day in her life. And we can just write that all out. And that is all true. So, and then the third motion, which they probably will deny just because it's Arizona, I don't know, which is a motion based on how she never had a criminal intention. And she's been a good player in this game. She's never missed a day of court. She's gone through this whole process. She's willingly taking her sentence. we can. It's called this a motion to stay pending sentencing. So because she's not a real threat to society, we can plead with the judge to let her be out, maybe at home, on house arrest, or just being able to be home, or maybe like a halfway house where she's not literally locked down all the time. And that's a choice of the judge. I don't know what. I think the woman would do it, but I don't know what the pressure she's going to have from her bosses and whatnot. Because I'm sure the state's going to want to send a message, this is how they do it out here. So
well, this is a very lengthy
that first
trial,
wave
so
may be rough, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is it may be 6 months before we get in front of an appeals judge, just because the system's backed up, and we're going to do everything we can to speed that process up. So legally, we're kind of in a waiting game. We're going to do what we can do. Obviously, if you're an attorney out there and you want to contact us with either not legal advice, but if you just want to have any direction or guidance or an input on the situation, not legal advice, or if you know someone in Arizona, we're just open to all resources right now and support, prayers. The other thing, so basically we're bound by that, by time. So what we're doing really is we need people to not let this story die. We want people to share. Go on our Facebook, find your favorite videos, and share them. Go to the articles that you found, Huffington Post, there's blogs, start a blog. And the Tantra Is campaign, yes, if you are a healer, make a statement. We need to share our truth with the layman, with the people who aren't aware that they could potentially be healers, that they potentially need healing, that the body is sacred. All these messages that we have to give to people, it's time we really start sharing them so that the collective consciousness can rise. And really that's the biggest thing, because the news is so fast, our attention span is getting so fast. I think I saw a study, we barely have an attention span over a gnat now. So the more we can share and make Tantra real and make Tracy's case real and the outcome of her case real, then that is the best thing we can do. And that's really what she's sacrificing for. She didn't go to jail to make money she didn't start this to make money. She's doing this for the people she's not doing this for herself. She's doing this for the people to know the truth, the people to have freedom around their body. They call prostitution the world's oldest profession. Well, I wonder why, and that's a pretty interesting question. Where does that come from? And how long have we been suppressing women? And even in the trial, it's been testified by Dr. Ted that there was 60% of sex acts in the world are bought right now. So we need to we're still far away from, sacred sexuality being present in society, and, in a mainstream. And when Tracy comes out of prison, if her story or sacred sexuality is mainstream, that'll be the biggest gift. Because that'll be the way where she didn't go to jail for in vain. This knowledge has surfaced and been suppressed again and again. The key where we're at right now in our time is that we have the internet. Hundreds of people have been thrown in jail for this knowledge, and or been gone against. But for Tracy, what we have right now is we have an opportunity with Facebook and YouTube and blogs and shows like Aquarian Radio and people like you, the Lessons. We have an opportunity to really share and have it be a consensual reality.
Yeah, I want to say this so right on, that Tantra, ultimately what Tracy is teaching, Tantra allows the empathy for our fellow human beings and the planet that leads to world peace. It's perfectly well documented that if you have sexual satisfaction and good relations with people and you don't hit your kids, there's not going to be violence in the society and there ain't going to be wars. Tantra can see the world, and Tracy is showing us that. And it looks like the prosecution wants to crucify her, but we're not going to let that happen. We shall overcome.
Oh, we totally agree. We have faith. the one thing we don't know is time. I mean, that's, as always, in manifestation or when you're on a life path, you usually can't control the time frame, but, we will keep holding the outcome that we want in our minds, and we're not going to give up. She's not going to give up. I know you guys aren't going to give up on this. And all the best thing that could happen is just more people join the cause. And however they can, whatever that looks like.
However they can. Well, that's, I think, very important is to keep on spreading these links around on all of the social networks, Twitter it, share it on Facebook. I've been doing that.
And
so where do they go? I have this Facebook.com/Phoenix Goddess Temple. Is that the latest postings? Can you hear me? Did you hear me? Which Facebook should they go to?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, good.
Her Facebook is a little complicated. There's multiple things. She's got her personal account. She already has 5,000 friends there, so you can't really become her friend, but if you just Google her, she's got 2 or 3 pages. There's the Phoenix Goddess Temple page, and then she has a public figure page. So her public figure page and the Phoenix Goddess Temple ones are the ones that are us. They're the ones that we are sharing all the videos. We're going to be sharing updates. Right now, yesterday I shared the link on how you can contact her. If you want to send her a postcard, that's great. The jail, again, it's pretty strict, so if you want to send her a book, she would love to get spiritual books. The jail's pretty strict about content, so we are going to put together a list of books that are going to be accepted and books that she would like. But, yeah, you can't send anything with nudity, of course, and they're very strict about that. And they're even very strict about the mail that she can get. She can only get postcards. So if you want to send her something, feel free to write us, and we can help you with that. But on her Facebook page, my Facebook page, Ben's, everyone's, there's the list there, and we can maybe post it on Team Goddess Plus as well, on the PhoenixGoddessTemple.org. Send her love, send her messages of love. She is in there, and she can only get the information that we send her. So, if you want to set up video chat with her or send her a postcard, she will love that. For her to know that people are on the outside supporting her, that will mean so much. And, again, the jail's really strict, so if you have questions or you're not sure, feel free to write us on Facebook. But, yes, just keep sharing the videos, keep spreading the word. That really is the main thing that needs to happen, and then anything else that you can do to help. There's tons of ways. We're going to just keep as much updates as we possibly can, mainly through Facebook.
Excellent. Well, we're running out of time for this show. We can always do an update in the next week or two. But please do send me all those links that you talked about, and I'll make sure I put it on our page, and we're going to promote this far and wide. And is there just want emails? There's not a phone number or any way that they can reach you?
Absolutely.
Just want to do email for now?
Yeah, the email for now is templeof1@gmail. That's a good one. And the temple1@gmail. Number 1. Yes. And thank you so much for having us.
Well.
Yes. What was that?
I will put that up on this page.
Yeah, send you some links
so everybody can get it. Templeof1@gmail.
Thank you so much. And
okay.
Thank you for blasting us into the age of Aquarius with Aquarian Radio. We love your show and listen all the time.
Well, thank you so much, and you have a good rest of the day, and thank you, listeners, for joining us, and we will give you an update in a week or two, and much love and blessings, and aloha. Any final words, Sash?
Make aloha.
Thank you very much. Blessings. Aloha. Bye.
Blessings and love, and thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Have you heard? Metro by T-Mobile now includes Amazon Prime. Yes, enjoy the best of shopping and entertainment, movies, TV shows, music, free shipping, and much more. All included for just $40 per line for 3 lines. All on the T-Mobile network. Discover the smarter way. Metro by T-Mobile. That's genius. One offer per account. Offer subject to change. $12.99 per month value. Offer valid for new Amazon Prime members. Metro customers may notice reduced speeds versus some T-Mobile customers. Video at 480p. Capable device required. See store for details and terms and conditions.